Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of Silkworm Development. Sorry about the late start here. I was getting some thumbnails created, but essentially, last we had left off, we were creating the jump mechanic, and it was basically done. So today we'll move into the climbing mechanic, being able to climb up walls and such things, and we should be able to get that done today. We're going to do quick work on the jump mechanic to clamp down some values. We're getting some anomalous values that I can't really explain, that hopefully just clamping the values to the empirical max hand speed will help. Like sometimes it's telling me my hands are moving at like 170 meters a second. So that's clearly not right unless I'm actually a baseball pitcher and I didn't know. Okay, let's take a look here. So let's go into the scripts. What is it? Control Shift F, Control F. What is the quick search? No quick search button? I'm surprised I didn't have that yet. Quick search is really nice. Oh, we'll let it do that for a second. But yeah, once you get climbing in there, it's pretty nice. Because you'll be able to jump, you'll be able to run, you'll be able to climb. So the only thing left will be being able to shoot your silk. Get a little swing action in. Sure. Okay, so there's jump movement. Let's open that up. And basically down here where we're getting the hand speed, let's go ahead and just do a clamp on these. Just loading in right now. SciSharp hasn't started itself. There we go. We'll do the same thing here. We'll remember to change this to right hand. Okay, and it's basically just giving me problems that don't exist. Okay, let me open my video back up here. Okay, very cool. So, and we'll just kind of say that that's done for now, and let's take a look at it. It's real weird. Oh, it became a quest again, so let's go ahead and close that. Turn this into a rift. Don't know why I did that. I guess I just decided I wanted it to be a quest. Okay, Oculus Link, open it up, and let's clean the screen real quick because okay. What was that? For a second, my hands were like bobbing. It's a pretty weak jump. Let me see here. Yeah, I just don't know why it's doing that, really. Okay. And so let's... Yeah, what a strange bug, but for now we're not going to worry about it. I'll fix that stuff on my own time. Let's see. So first of all, maybe let's get in snap turning. I think I actually have turn. It looks like it needs some sort of locomotion system. Let's see. Okay, so we'll just make our own. I'm not too interested in whatever Unity has to say about snap turning anyway. Locomotion system, I don't even know what that is. Alright. Cool. So, I believe... How did I get in packages? And I don't know why I named that lowercase. That was a weird thing to do. And hey to whoever just joined. We're currently making snap turning for the character in this game. Because I've been sitting in my chair and like trying to rotate and it hasn't been going so well. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. But we pretty much have a script that's written. And let's just take a look at it. Let's comment it. To snap turn. Okay, very cool. So it assumes you have a rigid body. There's a can turn value that I don't know why I have because it's private and doesn't appear that you can set it anywhere. So let's get rid of that. And then you have a turn threshold. And this should probably be 0.75, I would say. A rotation amount, 30 degrees. Real rotation in case you don't put something that's divisible by 360, because otherwise you're going to be rotating weirdly. And then I subscribe to the right touchpad pressed, and basically move to start once a good amount is selected. Yeah, because essentially there's no reason to do this, so we can do that now. basically that just made it so that every frame I could change the value to check how much I wanted to rotate. Can turn is not a thing anymore. Maybe we'll put it in later. Oh, I see, I was setting it there. I see why I was using it. That makes sense. I was doing that basically so that if your joystick is above the turn threshold, you don't keep turning. It has to go under the threshold first. So basically it's saying if it's above, rotate. If it's lower, then set it back till you can rotate, which makes sense. Internal. It'll default to private. Bool can turn equals true. Let's put the rigid body under there. And then let's set that to parameters. Cool. And I like to have the parameters on top of the other internal variables. It's just a thing I like. Okay, cool. So it looks like that goes on the player's rigid body, which will be XR rig, snap turn. Cool. So let's test if that works. And if you haven't been in, I don't know if you've been to the stream before, but welcome if you haven't. And feel free to ask me any questions. Okay, let's see. Oh my God, it's not working. And why not? Let's check it out. No errors, that surprises me. Sorry, now I'm looking at the jump script. Snap turn. I question what the problem is. I suppose okay, it's rotating by transform, by the way, which I don't know that I necessarily like. It probably should be using physics if it's going to try to use the rigid body. But basically it seems like it's either not subscribed or this isn't catching. And we can figure out both of those by outputting X. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I read this wrong. This should be XR controller input. Should be right. What is this? A vector? I see. Vector 2, X's value. Cool. And we'll basically just want to replace X with X's value dot X. Because now it's coming from a vector 2 instead of two float values. Okay, and that's good and well. I do question that script in the sense that if you move, it'll rotate you a little bit weird. Because the camera can kind of move independently of the XR rig. But I don't see them moving around in this game really, so I guess I'm not too worried about it. Plus, it's just a game we're making in a month, so, and it'll be free, so get over it. Very cool. So now I can run around nicely. And let me check that the jumping will still work. Yeah. Okay, very cool. So that all works. And if you haven't seen any of this before, here you go. You can see it now. It's like the more I jump in a row, the further I can jump for some reason. Actually, you know what? That does seem pretty consistent. Yeah, weird. It's never the first jump. Yeah, like this is saying that at some point my hands reached. Oh, hey, Thought Drifter. Curious, how are you testing the game directly to Oculus Quest without having to build and run virtual desktop? No, so actually they've made this kind of nice in Unity now. I assume you're using Unity as well or have interest in that. You basically set it up, well, let me know if you haven't heard of Oculus Link, but you essentially set it up as an Oculus Link, which lets you play Rift games, and then you basically are playing it like you're playing a Rift game. So when you're developing for Rift, you can just play it right in Editor. And now this, for all intents and purposes, is a Rift. So I just play it in the editor that way. And then when I need to, it's still set to Android. So then when I build, it becomes a Quest game essentially. So to do that, you basically what was I gonna say? Do you have a Quest that you're trying to develop on? Or do you have a Rift or something? Okay, and it looks like snap turning is in. Cool, thanks. My main machine died, so I'm using an older machine. Yes, I have Quest. So honestly, maybe that's helpful. If the older machine can plug in just a single USB 3, then you can make it an Oculus Link. And if you don't know like very strictly what the performance requirements are for a Quest, you can find yourself in a lot of trouble doing it this way. Because let's say, because yes, it's running in Quest, like I'm testing it on Quest, but I'm actually using the performance of a PC. So I could create this whole game and be like, oh, this game's sick. I got the whole city of New York in, it's so awesome. And then you could basically end up deploying it to Quest and then realizing like, oh, it doesn't have PC power. This game doesn't run literally at all. So you have to know that like, oh, it's 100K verts, 100K tries at a maximum bound, and like how many draw calls can I have and stuff like that before you deploy it. So, but yeah, the Quest 2 is a lot more performant than the Quest 1 was, so you have a little more overhead there. But yeah, it's oh, and then yeah, so I was gonna say on a worse PC or on like a laptop or whatever you're using, you'll probably hit similar performance constraints that the Quest has by itself. And like instead of using a PC with like a 3090, and then you find yourself in trouble. So that actually may be a gift in disguise. The Unity editor will run slower, so that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, but so right now we have in jumping, we have in running, and we have in snap turning now. So we're gonna see if we can get in climbing essentially, and then silk swinging. So that should be good. And and also cool, you have a Quest 2 because you'll be able to play this. And I'm going to make it free. So should be good. So let's see here. What do I have currently for climbing? I'm like going through and yeah. If you want more help like that, we're creating a pretty nice little community in the Discord. I don't know if I have the Discord linked here, but it should be linked in all my other videos. Oh, it's in the description. But a lot of really helpful people there, and I answer most of the questions anyway, so you can get help that way. But yeah, I've been making VR games for a while, so I know the tips and tricks. But yeah, I'm glad it was helpful for you. Okay, so let's see. So there's like a million errors in this right up front. So I'm basically just going to take a look and refamiliarize my... Okay, very cool. Thank you. I'm just going to refamiliarize myself with this. Okay, the hand positions, player positions. I don't know why I even bother writing private. I guess it's like a nice... I guess it's nice to see. It's nice to see, I suppose, in contrast to the public, but they default to private, so it's kind of unnecessary. Maybe it's just good practice to do so, but I'm gonna probably stop doing that now. Are you interested in creating VR games? Thought Drifter? Okay, so first of all, let's set this up with our new... I need to get rid of input handler. Do I even have this in the project right now? Yeah, it's my old... So let's find this and delete it. It was the way I used to handle input in Unity. If you have any trouble with input, by the way, I have a script that basically handles all that for you. I don't know if you're a programmer, but it lets you basically subscribe to any event you want from input, because the new XR Unity input is a little confusing. So let's go ahead and delete this. It looks like I had even an older version of input handler. Let's get rid of that too. And I don't care about XR Button Watcher either. Okay. Yes, working on one now. More of a meditation app for a quick and easy release, but I have a mage game in mind. Okay, very cool. How far along is the meditation app? And now that App Lab is out, you can totally submit it too. You just have to pass a few of their VRC guidelines, and then you're good to go. But yeah, how's the meditation app coming along? Ooh. All right, so let's fix the errors that created. I don't think it even has a hand vares anymore, but let's go ahead and just grab these and do XR controller input. And the script is... Okay, very cool. So is it just like basically you're setting up an environment and then it loads into that environment? I guess is there... Yeah, and then you load into that environment and it plays music, and or does it or is it, I guess, more... I don't even know if you'd need more than that, but or is there more functionality to it where you like set a duration and maybe you've recorded some voices or whatnot, or I'm not sure what you'd do for a meditation app, I guess is why I'm asking. Grip pressed once, grab wall. Okay, so originally I had this script on both hands. I think now, because I'm not actually quite sure why I did that. I think it lowered the complexity of the script a little bit to put it on each hand. That way I didn't have to like check two hands and what they were doing and see if you were grabbing with this or with this. Climb ball wall status. Let's go into player spy. Right now we have the head. And let's allow people to grab his rigid body as well. So let's do that, and then let's do RB equals get component rigid body. Color therapy type thing where you're floating in space with music, color lerping, affirmations that can be toggled on off. Works fine now, but need to polish a bunch of stuff. And have you been making Unity games for a while, or is this kind of your first dive into it? If so, it's exciting. With the color lerping, and did you write like a skybox shader that you put around and then you're having it switch through colors, or are you doing that through C#? I guess I'm asking, are you doing it through graphics programming or C# programming? Okay, cool. So now you'll be able to access the player's rigid body from anywhere in the script. So let's say this is basically player spy.rb. This is a little more convenient for everybody. And the other hand state. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fixing this script up. The script is old. And perhaps I should... Other hand state. I guess we can keep it on both hands for now. I guess it's not necessary for me to refactor it in such a way as to be put on the player when I already have it working like this. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do, because it's not too much work, is basically we'll have a hand. I don't know why I didn't split these up either. Needed objects. Parameters, public hand type. Basically, earlier I had a script where, and maybe I could still do this. No, it's really just not that much work for me to set this on each script myself. I had like a script that basically climb would be a subclass of like hand script, and in hand script it allowed you to set the type of hand, but it did it automatically because at the time I thought that was so cool. And now I'm realizing like, yeah, but it also would have just taken me 5 seconds to set the hand. You know, like why did I do that? It's so ridiculous because it was hard to do. At least for me at the time. Maybe now it'd be easier for me to code that type of thing, but hand type. Hand type. Okay, cool. And then we'll just have some conditional code here that basically just says, makes the script a little uglier, but who cares really? And type dot left, dot right, do this, else, it is a little bit, I mean, we'll see. Maybe it'll annoy me enough that I'll do it again here. I'm a developer by trade, dabbling in Unity for a long while now. Just getting into VR now. I found 2 skyboxes on the asset store that work very well. Dynamic Starry Sky works well for VR. Anyways, found your channel a few days ago and enjoy it. Looking forward to see it grow. We'll hang out in Discord too. Very cool. Oh, did you find it through like a tutorial video, or did you find it through one of the live streamings? I'm curious because it'll help me basically put out more content that allows it to grow. Because I don't think anyone's really gonna, only people who I guess feel friendly towards me in some way I think would watch me program. So I want to put out content that's sort of, I don't know. But yeah, I actually think I've used dynamic star sky before. Because there's like five good skybox assets on the store, so you inevitably end up using all of them if you make enough projects. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I need space, or oh, I need the ocean, or oh, I need this, and it's gonna be one of those five. Okay, very cool. Yeah, that's what I figured. People seem to be coming in from the tutorial videos. So I guess I'll keep making those. I'm glad you like that video, and I'm glad you like the channel in general. It's good to hear. The affirmation is very nice, I'll say. Type right, and type grip button. Sorry, what am I doing here? Left grip button pressed. Okay, it's already annoying me a little bit, but nothing horrible yet. Oh, and if you have any questions about anything, let me know as well, obviously. Okay. Other hand states, and then here I'll say, well, let me just, oh. I'll probably be using this a lot, so let me create a generic version of that. Put it here. And then what would that be? Hands spy dot. If you're right, then you want the left hand state. And that will be the other hand state. I guess I needed the other hand state for something. What is cannot implicitly convert type hand states? Do I have that? Is that a thing? I don't think I have hand states. Did I make this a hand states? No. Oh, I see. Left hand itself must be the... What am I doing here? That gives you access to the hand, and the hand itself... Oh, it's private for some reason. Is there any way to get that? I see. I guess I had made it private and then made an accessor to it on the hand, which does make sense because the hand state really shouldn't be a class in itself. It's just kind of a state of a hand. So maybe I can rework the script that way. You know what I can probably do? I can probably do a hand. You know what it's probably gonna end up being? I bet you other hand state. I'll bet you they set it. Oh, they don't. Okay, cool. Hand states get other hands states. We'll just make this into a little function. And then we'll take this. And we'll return hand spy left hand state. Cool. We'll get rid of that just for ease of reading. Return hands spy right hand dot state. Okay, cool. Get the state of the opposite hand. And let's put this down in a region called helpers. Helpers actually is maybe a little too vague. I've tried to stop using terms like helpers and utility and things like that, because as your project grows, eventually you're like, helpers what? I don't know, like what is it helping with? So maybe I could just say like hand state. Maybe that will be a little more specific. And then let's go ahead and clean this up as well. If you're not using regions, by the way, it's the move. Regions are sick. And then I think you can get, if you're using VS Code, I believe there's a extension called region folding. That basically, let me close that. That allows you to then say like, yeah, I don't want to look at that anymore, I close it. Which is so nice when you're looking through files. Really, truly nice. All right, what's the problem here? Oh. No way, what's the problem? Really? It already defines get other hand state? Oh, yeah, okay. Dumb. Should have done Control X. Okay, so I don't think we'll need that anymore. I don't think we'll need this. We probably won't need this. This. And where we use it, we'll do get other hands state. And we'll change that to what we're now using. Okay, cool. All right, so let's take a look. We did that. Position list equals list of last hand positions. I believe I can get that. What am I using that for? Because I believe I can get that from hand spies now. It's really just doing, yeah, okay, so it looks like I had already started doing that. So we can get rid of that. Body relative to hand velocity. I imagine I'm using that a lot. So when I was creating this, script, essentially I realized like it's extremely hard to, okay, because I'm trying to make it as, what's the word for it? Like I don't want to make it like an arcade game where I don't want to really have to press any buttons to do anything. I don't want to, or not the buttons, but I don't want to like say like, oh, and to jump you press A, you know, like I'm making it like you swing your arms to jump. And with the climbing, I didn't want it to be that you couldn't jump off the wall, or that I wanted you to have full control of your climb. So you can, when you're on the wall, you can push off and throw yourself off of it. You can also throw down and shoot up the wall if you want to climb really fast. But it ended up being that it was like extremely hard to throw yourself parallel to the wall so that you could grab it again and keep climbing. So I ended up having to do all this weird math on like how fast your body was, or like your body's relative velocity to the hand, I guess, and stuff like that. I guess we'll see more of that in a second here, but. And it ended up pretty good. I never released it back when I made it. And I've always found that regrettable, but now that App Lab is out, I'm thinking I'll just do it. Set wall status. A lot of this will probably be cleaned up. Okay, cool. Raycast for wall. Let's check what the layer it actually is now. So you have these buildings, layer building, and that is now layer 6, not layer 8. If you're not using layer masks when you're raycasting, I recommend it. It's a great way to save some performance. Common variables. I guess I had some sort of global variable. Oh, you know what it was? I had all these variables on the player, but I'm not going to do that this time. Although it is a little bit... I certainly see why I did that, because if I'm putting this script on each hand, like if each hand is controlling its own grabbing and whatnot, and I'm messing around with the values, I don't want to have to jump back and forth between the left hand and the right hand, changing the grab distance and making sure that they're the same. I could write some sort of validation script, but... And this is why I was thinking it'd just be easier to move the script above the hands and then control each hand each time. But let's stay away from that for now. Maybe I'll do that in my free time. Common variables, grab distance. So for now, we'll just... Okay. So that's not at all what I wanted it to create. I don't normally do this generate variable stuff. I thought maybe it would be interesting there, but instead we're going to put it in parameters. Public float, grab distance. And I don't actually... Am I even using... I don't even know that I'm using this anymore because I had switched to a solution where instead of using raycasting, I had like a ball following you. And if that ball was touching a wall, because you can put your hand really far in a wall and it's annoying. So I had it to where you could put it as far in as you wanted, and that ball would not be able to follow your hand because it would be stuck on the building because it's using physics. So I'm not even sure I'm using that anymore, but let's go ahead and just say that the grab distance is 0.5. Actually, that's going to be huge. 0.2. A decimeter, maybe? 0.2 decimeters? Yeah, that sounds good. Or 2 decimeters, I should say. Hit something or wall status. Yeah, so it looks like that. It looks like I was starting to use that. So I don't have to cast in all 6 directions when hand rotates. Okay, cool. Good to know. I don't know what this is yet, so I'm not gonna... I see. Okay, so I'll probably never use that, but I'll leave that for now. It looks like I wanted it to be when you grab something, the rock would protrude in some way. As if your hand was stuck in it, maybe? I don't know. Main climbing hand equals true. So basically just switching which hand is climbing. If this one has been the most recent to grab, then it is the main climbing hand. Grab position equals transformed position. If you hit something, grab normal equals hit info.normal, being the normal of the wall. So if I grab a wall, this would be the normal, the vector pointing away from the wall, perpendicular to it. rb.useGravity. Set helper values doesn't really mean anything. Switch hands. Turn off the player's gravity. You know what? It's going to It's gonna annoy me if I don't change this to via physics. If you're making a physics if you're making a physics based game, you should really make sure to change everything via physics. Like you really don't want to do transform.rotate because then it won't interact with physics correctly. It'll still kind of do it, but it won't really do it well. So that should be, what is it? What do you do? Move rotation? And I think even that is not super recommended. Move rotation, quaternion. Dude, every time I have to work with quaternions, I get scared. So I think I can create a rotation by doing rb dot rotation times when you multiply rotations, it's basically like doing the rotation. So I think if I multiply its current rotation by quaternion dot, what would it be here? Euler? And this is going to be 0. This should be this value because it's the y rotation, and this should be 0 as well. Okay, and then I should be able to do this. There was a point in, I don't know if you've learned about quaternions, but there was a point in time, I guess, where somebody was arguing that quaternions were better. What was it exactly? He was like some mathematician, and he was like his whole life was spent arguing that quaternions were better than just a Euler angles or a 3D space. He was basically like 3D spaces suck. We need to use quaternions, which has the extra W value at the end. It's an XYZ W. So, and I believe the W is imaginary, so it's basically like this XYZ imaginary W. And if you don't know what imaginary numbers are, they're what's used in complex numbers and stuff like that. So you'd have like 5 plus like 4i. The 4 being imaginary. But I guess he argued his whole life, but eventually simplicity won out. And I think quaternions actually are better, it's just nobody understands them, so. Okay, move rotation. And let's see if that works. Hopefully it does, because I don't want to get too crazy into quaternions here. Reset position. Both thumbsticks pressed. Reset the position. This, I think, is just kind of useless. Okay. And let's check that out. Should have seen it coming. Oh, it's a null reference. Okay, that's good. That makes me feel better. Is RB never set? Okay, RB is never set. Okay, and let's see how it goes here. Okay, heck yeah. How do you like my silkworm hands? They're pretty sweet, pretty green. So ridiculous looking. Actually, interesting. Okay, so there's no aliasing around the circle, and that circle is procedurally done. So when you have textures in a game, they generate bitmaps, which is basically lower resolutions of those, and that's so that you don't get aliasing, which is basically where when you're looking at a texture, and that's basically where like there's not enough, like the pixel is taking up more space than the frequency of change of the texture. So if you look at my water here, it looks good up front, but if you look far away, you see a lot of that little aliasing jaggy stuff. And that's because I'm using procedural math to make this water. Now, I was working on fixing it. I'm honestly just not crazy worried about it, but this doesn't have that same aliasing problem. And I don't think it's just because it's close. So let's do a little side note here. Um, let's do a little side note here and let's take a look at that shader and see if they're doing anything special. Um, dude, so my hands actually don't do anything. I could use some animated hands. I don't. Did you use Oculus as like grip pose creator, or did you actually go through and like animate the bones of the hand? That's something I'm severely lacking is the artistic technical side. I suppose I could probably animate hands, but I have no idea how to do it really. So that's cool that you did do it. All right, let's take a look at the silkworm skin. Okay, so they're using this dots, which I believe we have in subgraphs here. I don't know if you've used shader graph, but it's super nice. I animated the bones. I'll share the vid where I learned it. Okay, yeah, very cool. For sure do that. Because I think it would probably... I imagine people would be a lot happier with animated hands. Split it, modulo, step. Hmm. Okay, so none of this has any sort of like aliasing um, filters or anything like that. So it must be in this ellipse function, but I don't know if I can. Here, let's see if we can find it. Okay, so it's their own code. Let's take a look at it. I don't know if you know any graphics programming, but let's take a look. Jeez, look at these variable names. It's so ridiculous. All right, this is probably a little too hardcore for right now. Um, Plus, I'm not seeing anything anyway. They are using a texture coordinate, so that does make me think that maybe, well, it's really just using the UVs and it has position. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. But let's get back to it. Let me close this. Okay, so we're getting back to climb now, which I had getting rid of everything. Okay, very cool. I don't know why I was never documenting. Like, it makes it so not only is that hard on everybody else, but it's hard on me. Turn off the player's gravity, hand state. And then the hand state is grabbing wall. So I don't think I'm going to do it that way. Let me take a look at hand state. Normally a state script should handle itself. Like, you don't really want to be telling a state script what it is. Like, I shouldn't really be saying like, yeah, this is what state you're in now. It should receive events. It should say like, oh, somebody grabbed a wall. I will now set myself to grabbing wall. And that's basically just so that you can take, because the code's going to get more complicated and you want to be able to look in one place later and see all the things that are changing the state. You don't want to have a hand state and be like, I literally have no clue where people are changing the state from. Like, I'm so lost right now because I know the state's wrong, but I don't know why. So let's take a look at this. Okay. I guess we're going to want to come back here. Move this down to here. Go up. Oh. Create an event. I recommend actions personally. If you have any questions about this, let me know. Public action. And I guess it'll have a bool. No. Grabbed wall. Okay, and then we'll probably create another one that's released wall. Okay, and you need to import system. I'm pressing Alt Enter, by the way, to get those recommendations. Okay, and then instead, down here, instead of setting the state, what we're going to do is call grabbed wall. And if it has anybody who's subscribed, we'll set it and we'll get rid of that. Look, I was even setting the player state from the climbing script. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just a terrible way to do it. Player state set climbing to true. Okay, so there's a few state things that we're going to have to worry about here. I'm going to make the transforms available as well. just because I think I'm probably going to need those from a bunch of other places. Bad way to do it. Let's do it like this. And let's just do this, actually. And if you don't use getters and accessor, you're like getters and setters, they're really, really cool. Because basically you can have a variable that, I mean, it's basically just a function. It's basically just it must be like syntactic sugar, where basically you, instead of having to like make a like get left hand transform and then do that same code that I just did up there and here, and then have to call this function, you instead can make a like a property, like a variable on the object, and put a little function in it when you get. So now over here, if I were to call like hands spy dot left hand transform, so I didn't have to call a function, it would run this little function here. It would run this little function here and give me whatever the transform of the left hand is at that time. So that's really cool and really helpful. Okay, and I was doing that because I wanted to deal with the player state first. Player state. Okay, and in here we'll basically want to say hands spy dot left hand transform dot get component climb plus equals not dot climb dot wall grab the wall. Okay, we're basically just getting the event on that function. Grab the wall, and I could cache that value, but I don't think I'm going to do that for now. I think I'm just going to use get component for now. Equals wall grabbed. Very cool. And we'll do that same thing for the right hand transform. And then we'll copy those and remove them on disable. Okay, and then let's create something for that. So you see we already have these other functions that might set state. Player has jumped. The player is touching the floor. So basically player state has subscribed to the movement script that basically just says like it outputs an event every time the player is touching the floor, and when they are touching the floor I want to set standing equal to whether or not they're touching the floor, and then I set state, and in set state basically it takes all those variables that can be set, checks them, and gives me an eventual state, and then I have something that logs the state that I switched to. That's just for me. And again, let me know if you have any questions about any of that. So set climbing is not exactly what we want. What we want is this might become a problem later. I might need to designate what hand, because if I have a wall released, it's not going to know if I released both hands or just one hand. Probably not. Okay, cool. No. Yeah, okay, let's keep going. And do I have a... I do have a climbing. Equals true, and then set state. And now in set state, we'll want to have... Okay, so if they're standing, set it to standing. If they're free falling, set it to... And you kind of just do this in order of importance. And if they're climbing... So at this point, climbing would basically override any of the other states. Like, because you could be touching the ground and also climbing. So we'll start by touching the ground. Are you touching the ground? If so, then yeah, let's say you're standing. And then let's skip free falling and say, but if you're also climbing, like if you just happen to be climbing, but you're near the ground, go ahead and set the state to climbing, because that's going to override it. So that should be good there. And then we'll want to look at hand state. Don't need these, obviously. I was just grabbing some code. Set state, and let's do hand state. Sorry, hand states. Okay, and then we'll need the variables. What did we do over here? Just public static. That won't quite work with the hand states. They won't be static, but... And I actually like this better than what I currently have. And then I'll just set it here. State equals... Cool. I only had it the other way so that I could set the initial state, but I can just do that in on enable instead. And then here, because it just makes it easier to read that. There's only one player, so static works. Accessing it anywhere works, but there are two hands, so the hand state needs to not be static. Hand state, public bool idle. Public bool grabbing wall. And then you basically just have one for each of the possible states, because all of these things could happen in some form of overlap. Like you could be swinging and shooting the web at the same... Well, no, you couldn't be doing that. I actually don't know that you could be doing any of these at the same time, so this one's not as bad as the player state. Shooting web. Okay, cool. And then let's replace all of that with those. No, that should be good. Okay. And again, this is just for debugging, this part here. So I will need to change that actually. I have a wrapper for debug that basically just adds the time. Hand state stat 2. Private hand type, hand type. Internal. Can you hear my desk shaking as I'm typing? Just realized it's kind of I'm like getting pretty in the zone here, and I'm like pressing the keys pretty hard. Okay. This is really nice, something I learned just recently, that you can do this. I know it's kind of a simple thing, but that you can do this money sign and then brackets and put variables right into the string instead of having to do like plus this, plus that. And I believe the hand types. Yeah, left, right. Okay, cool. So that'll be good. And then basically here we'll want to say same thing as in climb. Or what was that in enable? Yeah. Pew, pew, pew. Okay, very cool. Cool. That's good to hear that you cannot hear it. So you see why eventually I was getting annoyed with the having to check what hand it was each time. It's not awesome, but I don't know if I just still don't think it's really that worthwhile to make it all automatic. And this is just pretty clear anyway. Sometimes clarity is nice in your code. Hand spy. Okay, so yeah, then for the hand state. I actually think hand state is just on. The only reason I would really do it this way is if I was planning on putting the climb component on a different object than hand state. But I don't know that that's really going to be the case. But, you know, whatever. It's just a few more lines of code, so it doesn't really matter. They've grabbed a wall. Set state. So hopefully this whole state thing is clear to you on like why we do it this way, or why I do it this way at least. I guess I don't know that Rockstar is doing it this way, but this is how I like to do it, and sort of the process behind it. grabbing wall equals true, then set the state. And let's copy this. Let's get rid of that. And then let's do the all control D grabbed wall. Okay, cool. So that's my first hand state thing, so that's cool. So that was all like a whole thing after that was all the whole thing after oh jeez, my throat. They kind of spawned off of this climb script that we were messing around with. Grabbed wall. And we'll likely have to do something similar for released wall. But let's see. Okay, cool. So we don't need that anymore because... And now this is so much nicer too. Like, why was my climb script even... Like, why did it even have to know about the player? Why did it have to know about the hands? Or like the hand state, you know? It's annoying. Now I'm just saying like, hey, I grabbed the wall. If anybody cares, just let me know. So that's pretty cool. Use gravity is false. Particle effect look at. Position because grab normal. When wall is grabbed, check the velocity. Projection onto the plane every frame. So this is like, I was pretty pumped about this. This really got me excited. What this is doing here is basically saying that when you grab the wall, if you're moving with sufficient velocity, instead of just stopping immediately, start sliding. So you basically grab the wall and you slide to a stop, as if you like had to like use friction to stop you. And in the meantime, I also play an audio effect that's kind of like this crunching rock sound, and play a particle effect that shoots rocks off the wall. So it's really simple, but it ends up being pretty cool when you're like really like swinging and jumping, and then you grab the wall and you're like, and then you jump off of it while you're sliding, you know? At least I was pretty pumped about it. But that particle effect can probably happen somewhere else. Grab wall. Let's see. Common variables, min speed to slide. Oh, shit. You know what I'm going to do? You know what's going to be extremely epic, actually? I was just learning about scriptable objects. Because you know how I was saying I don't want to have to set these values on each hand? Well, let's not do that. Let's do a scriptable object. So a scriptable object, if you don't know, is basically like... It's a way to serialize, meaning like save between play sessions and stuff like that. A bunch of variables, and then you can create an instance of that and put it in your project, and then you can use that for other things. So for this for instance, I'm gonna have like common variables amongst the hand in a scriptable object, and then I'm gonna let each hand use that same scriptable object. That way when I need to change these values, I only need to go change it on that scriptable object, and it'll disperse to both hands instead of having to go to each one. So that should be really cool. Let's see. And what was the other one? Grab distance. Okay, so basically we'll want to audio clip SL. Let's copy this because I never quite can remember the syntax. Let's jump out here. How did I end up in packages again? Scripts. And we won't make a folder yet just because we only have 2 of them. Is there a better name for this? No? Okay, cool. It's just kind of a long name. Yeah, if you haven't used scriptable objects, they're a little annoying, but also pretty sweet once you get rolling with them. And I'm always excited to find a new use case for them. That's what I should have named it. Not properties. I should have named it climb parameters. Because a parameter is technically something you change that changes a function or the output of a function. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. And then I don't need any of this. That's what I'm using for audio clips. That's another nice way to use scriptable objects. And then let's come out and let's quickly rename this. Okay, and then what was it? We had grab distance. And it was 2 decimeters. Because everything is in meters and you have 0.2 meters. And then min speed to slide. And this, I don't know what this is yet, but let's just say that it's 10 meters. Let's say that it's 5 meters a second. Okay, and then we'll go back over here. We'll do public climb parameters. I guess we can just call it params. And then we'll do... So if you weren't getting what I was saying, this probably makes it more obvious here. I didn't make these public. So I will still have to set the what scriptable object they're using, but I'll only have to do that once, so it's not a big deal. And then what's the error? Dang it. That's a classic mistake. You accidentally saved the wrong script. I was not aware of this, but it looks like you can't name something parameters. Cool. Cool. So we still can't, well, actually we can create the scriptable object now at least. And this is cool because if you wanted to, it's also a quick way to switch between the parameters. Like if for some reason, let's say you had, like I had buffs or debuffs in the game, and you go through something sticky, and now you have to have a much higher minimum velocity before you start sliding. I could do it this way. I could create multiple of these scriptable objects and then switch between them during the game. Like I could say, oh, he's sticky, switch the hands scriptable object to the sticky climbing parameters. You know what I'm saying? So that would be really cool. Instead of having to that would be literal hell to say, you would just hard code all the values I guess you would just hard code all the values realistically in a function. You would say like set to sticky and it would just do basically the same thing, but this is a kind of a cooler way to do it. Okay, so it looks like it won't let us create that until we fix all of these bugs. Or all of these. I guess they're not really bugs, but it's things we need to fix. Okay. And then audio, hand audio, play hand slide. Let's just not worry about that for right now because I don't really have any hand audio set up currently. And that would be a little bit of a thing. So let's just actually be able to climb first. Okay, and that's a little bit annoying. I don't like this at all. You shouldn't be telling the other one. You shouldn't be telling the other one what's going on. So I think what we'll instead do... Okay, so we're setting the main climbing hand. We really shouldn't tell other people what to do in code, at least as far as I feel about it. Yeah. So I guess we'll want to do hands, spy, dot. Get other hands. I'm trying to subscribe to the other hands wall grabbed. And then in that we'll say like, oh, they grabbed the wall, or we're no longer grabbing the wall. We're not the main hand. Something like that. And unsubscribe as usual. Very cool. Other hand, grab the wall. Okay, so now we're subscribed to the other hand. And then so basically we need, I guess we can put it in here as well. Void other hand, grab the wall. Main climbing hand equals false. Cool. A weird amount of this game ended up being state management. but I suppose that makes sense. What is this? So random. Okay. Okay, so now again that will be handled by grabbed wall. And this is also, like, see, like I was doing audio, I don't know, I was messing with the player, I was messing with the other hand, I was messing with audio. Now, audio as well will just subscribe to grab the wall. So it'll know to play when you grab this wall. Same with the particle effect. Okay, cool. So that first function is done now. I guess that must be when you let go of the wall. Let go of wall and reset variables. Okay. And did I... Was I caching the hand somewhere? Because I probably should. And otherwise it will be the left hand. Okay, cool. So now I just don't have to check each time. I can just cache that hand value. Okay, so then basically if you're grabbing the wall, when let go is called, if you're grabbing the wall and you are the main climbing hand, if you should throw, do this. Let's see what the other things are. Okay, I'll go ahead and just change this all to hand.state across the board. Okay, and this is where the release will come in. This should be named more appropriately. Okay, so I was trying to set the hand state, which will change. I guess I'm not setting the player state anymore. But I must have... But it looks like I was trying to set it to jumping, as if it was a jump. And it pretty much is a jump, I suppose. Well, I'm actually not sure about that. Sorry about the dog, by the way. Well, I guess we can start with what we know. which is that, what was it? What did I call it? Released wall. And that the hand state should be set to idle. I was just thinking in the future what button I want to use for shooting the silk, and if you would be able to shoot it while you were grabbing the wall, and I think not. They'll both use the grip button, so it'll be grip to grab, and then if your hand is free, you'll be able to... I was just trying to think if idle was the appropriate designation here, considering you might switch right from grabbing to silk slinging, but I don't think that's what's going to happen, so... Release to wall, so then let's go into hand state and do something similar here. Okay. And I guess idle will pretty much always be set to true. That might be a little misleading though. Maybe this just isn't even a thing. Alright, and this is kind of where it's looking like maybe I should just cache it, but for now I'm still not going to do that. I just don't want to, because it's only going to happen once, and, you know, so whatever. I'd really only be doing it for the sake of having less code to read, but I'm not too worried about that. Left hand. Very cool, and let's just copy this whole thing. I think that's going to be a little faster. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, cool. Grabbing wall, released wall. Okay, if you're grabbing wall, state equals. Okay, cool. I guess else... For right now, either you're grabbing the wall or your hand's idle, so... Okay, cool. So now it's checking for when they release from the wall as well and setting the state to idle. Okay, so then... Cool, we don't need that. I guess set climbing to false never ended up being a thing. And it's no longer the main climbing hand, fair enough. Where all is this called? It's such a weird thing to do. Okay. Okay, I see why I did it though. Because I must have had some input event that wouldn't take a Boolean, and I needed this function to take a Boolean. Okay, you release from the wall. Your main climbing hand is no longer that one because you released, which makes sense. Your player rigid body is now using gravity again. That seems problematic because I still don't know if I must have done checks somewhere else because I wouldn't really know that my other hand isn't still grabbing the wall. Player state set jumping. Okay, so now we get back to player state. So it looks like, yeah, I must do, before I let go, I must do checks to make sure that the other hand is not grabbing the wall. I would think that those checks would, I don't know. All right, let's see. You want to come in? You guys want to come in? Thought these are my dogs. Stop. They like to get crazy. All right, I get it. Let's see here. So, I don't know if you have dogs or cats or anything, but... Hey, enough of that, I already let you in. Okay, so I think we can just pretty much do the same thing. Hand stuff. Body stuff. Released wall. Oh. Wall released. Then I probably should have done this instead. I gotta go, meeting a friend, catch you later, thanks for the stream. Yeah, no problem, Thought Drifter, I'm glad you joined and I'm glad you liked it. Hopefully I'll see you around in the Discord, help you out with some stuff and maybe you can help me out with the animating hands, so I'd appreciate that. But have a good day and have fun with your friend. Oh, and I didn't see that you were thinking of getting a dog. I don't know if you're still here, but they're cool. They're actually my friend's dogs, but I just kind of play with them, which is kind of a best of both worlds situation. All right, let's see. Yep. All right, I'll see you later. Player touching 4, wall grabbed. All right, I'm gonna grab some water real quick, guys. Jake Broski. Dude, you missed it. It was epic. Somebody totally joined, and we were having a great conversation. I didn't know Caps Lock was on. That's funny. Oh heck yeah, dude! He joined the Discord. It's freaking sweet, dude. Okay. So Jake, let me see real quick. Some people were writing to me. Yeah, did you find Overwatch? I mean, we were getting fucking destroyed, dude. Normally we destroy people that hard. I don't know what the hell was happening. And I'm not trying to like settle. You were doing well, I thought. You were getting medals and stuff. Like I don't we were playing they were so good, dude. I couldn't believe it. Um okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but that's fine. I'll just keep that for now. Okay, so so I'll show you what I have so far, Jake. Oh. Wrong script. Were you having any sort of fun with it, or are you just being nice? It's fun, and it's fun if you didn't find it fun. Like I said, I'm not. I just thought you might enjoy it more than you would think. Okay, dang, now everything is starting to reference this script, so it's harder for me to just... Okay, it looks like... I don't hate it quite as much as I thought I would, but I need a few more games to really form an opinion. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's like really confusing up front because you don't know the characters. And we're yelling like, Orissa's got her shield out. Oh no, they're about to use their ulti. Everybody hide. Hanzo is shooting his arrows of light. And you're like, oh my, Jesus, what are they talking about? And suddenly there's dragons flying across the map. Suddenly there's dragons flying across the map and stuff. Okay, but basically we're making a climb. We're making a climb script right now, so let's see. Player state. So we were just doing some player state stuff. We don't need these anymore. If they release the wall, I think both hands... Basically, the player state is subscribing to when they release their hand from the wall, and then it calls this, which basically sets climbing equal to false, and then calls set state, which is going to say... If you're climbing, set the state to climbing. I don't think he's a monkey, dude, Roadhog. You mean this guy? Did I freaking hate this guy, yeah. Because he's got the hook, right? So you never know. And he gets it like every 10 seconds. So you never know if he's going to hook you or not. He's pretty fun to play, actually. Oh, yeah. That was, man, we were getting mad about that, Winston. So I was thinking about it. So basically they just realized we had two healers. We had two healers who were on the back line. So they just used Winston, who is able to jump in and basically kill healers instantly. And we definitely could have countered him if we were a little better. But yeah, and then once the healers were dead, he would just jump to you and kill you. So you're not gonna kill him. You know, like an attacker can't take out a tank by themselves. Yeah, Winston freaking sucks. Freaking sucks, dude. Okay, so I don't believe I'll have to set jumping to true anymore. It is weird for me to set the gravity to true. So but where would I set that? I guess in player state. I don't know. That just doesn't sound right. I mean, I certainly shouldn't be setting. No, okay, whatever. I'll set it here. I'll have to take a look at those things later. But we don't want that anymore. We're just cleaning up this script so that it's not terrible. But yeah, it's just it's a really fun team game. Like it requires like pretty intense team communication, and what was I gonna say? And it has six total people, so you can play with a lot of people. You know, like it's not like like, oh, sorry, Timor, we already have three actually sort of situation. But anyway, okay, body relative to hand velocity, destroy, grab, protrusion. Sure, and let's go ahead and get rid of that up here as well, because it doesn't seem that we're going to use that. Okay, then let's take a look at this math that I was doing. Okay, so when you let go, if it should throw, because so when you basically when you're climbing the wall, if you let go and you're moving at a certain speed, and you're moving at a high enough speed, essentially it'll throw you from the wall as if you were trying to jump off of it. Um, and so we're doing some math here for if you should throw. You have up, grab dot up, a threshold here with, I imagine 1.5 is probably sine of 30 degrees. Get their average player velocity, get the average player velocity local. If find angle from velocity on the plane. I don't know that I want to even look into all this too much. Player spy dot head, common variables, addition to angle max. Uh oh. Addition to angle max, not great. Okay, that's not awesome. But we'll just give it climb params, addition to angle max, generate that variable. Hopefully all of this is being put. Climb parameters. Okay, cool. It is making all of that. Internal. I'm not even sure I know what the internal keyword means. I don't know that I've ever seen that. In the same assembly. What the hell? Alright, whatever. Man, I hope I don't have to... Look at all this freaking math I was doing. And then it looks like I had a special case for when you put your hand on top of the building, where it would... Oh, dude, I got 100. I finally broke 100 followers on TikTok, and then and I'm getting more followers on YouTube too. What's bonkers? Sorry, I didn't see when you put that the 100 followers. While we're at it, we'll make this public. Hopefully, dude. I mean, I just want people to call me Danger Dom on the streets. I just want them to be like, Danger Dom. Um, yeah, the math is a little ridiculous, right? I mean, I'm not doing anything that crazy. I'm just doing like dot products and normalizing and radians to degrees and arc cosine and then some like intervalization where I'm just normalizing it to 0 and 1 and nothing crazy really. Linear algebra is pretty standard for games. A lot of it is just putting stuff on an interval. Like if I have like 12 to 80 and I want to change that to 0 to 1, how do I do that? And just x minus 12 divided by 80 minus 12. And that will get you that. So it's nothing too bad. Propel over building. Let's find that bad boy. Oh, weird. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know I could do that. Weird. I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else because I don't like this whole idea of using a string to call the method. That sounds like I need some complicated reflection or something. So I'm going to just I'm just going to do propel over building. Right? I think. So I'll just do propel over building. Then I'll get rid of that. Then I'll come down here. Don't need this. Let's make our program more functional than that. You really want to make your program fairly functional. You don't want to have these like class variables that you're having to deal with. It'd be nicer just to pass it in, but obviously I had to do that because I was not doing it the async way. So now I'll just say await unitask dot let's import this. Delay time span dot from seconds. Cool. So wait that amount of time and then push the player over the building. We can change this to climb params. Dude, I love the way I program. It's so much better than the way I used to program. So epic. Okay, and this is bad. So we'll do it the right way. Why is it so annoying? Oh, I got followed on TikTok by a guy named Dom on RL. Like he must have seen it and been like, no way. Danger Dom, Rocket League video. I love cleaning up old code too. It's so satisfying. Why did I make this private? Was someone else trying to call update? Oh, my bad. Okay. Time to average over. Jesus, what a poorly named variable. Let me let this dog in. Hey, come on in, guys. Look. Hey, what are you doing? Shut up! I will lose my mind on you. I will freaking lose my mind on you. Sorry that you guys just saw a side of me that maybe you didn't want to see. That dog, it gets possessive over my room. It's not even my dog. It's like trying to tell this other dog that it can't hang out in here. It makes me mad. Yeah, I mean, they'll go at it. They'll freaking attack each other. So you gotta shut it down. Do I have player on the... Do I have that script on the player yet? Player spy, player state. I do not actually just have player. So bad, dude. It's so bad. What was I thinking? Look at... Like, I have a player script and I have all the climbing variables, all the silk swinging variables, all the silk pulling variables, and I'm just like, what was I doing? It's so weird. Like clearly climbing variables should go on some sort of climbing script. We'll get rid of those, but we'll keep them. Uh-oh. I need them for something? Max list values. Let's see here. Max list values. Max list values. Max list values. I'm just trying to think if I can get rid of this. I think that I probably can. I'm not going to delete any of it because I'm just not sure yet. And then let's go into player spy. And let's create another one of these. Except let's make this one player. We'll call it player. And in here we'll get it. Get components. Player. Okay, very cool. So then back in our okay, clearly that's not right. There's so many things that could be wrong with this script right now when I try it, but whatever. Get average player velocity in world space. Used for momentum. Get average player velocity. Skip equals 4. Am I using skip? I am using skip. The velocity list. So I guess it's probably going to be player spy dot player dot velocity list. And I wonder if I can do something like this. Don't know what that was. Oh no, what's happening? Oh, I see. Okay, in this way I don't need accessors. Accessors are nice, but this shorthand for the accessors is even nicer. Because then I don't need these bad boys down here, making my scripts look foolish. Did you get it because you saw ours? Because it's pretty. What was I gonna say? It's pretty. I mean, like it does increase your water pressure just by making the hole smaller, which in itself is cool because you don't really notice that there's less water coming out. You just feel the higher pressure. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I would definitely get it again if we didn't have it because our water pressure was pretty bad before that. Take out time list. I'm not positive it won't be used anywhere, so I'm not going to do that yet. Okay, back to climb. So now we have this velocity list. And we'll just do the same thing here. Player spider, player dot velocity list. Time to average over. Nothing like an extremely long variable name. Apparently the beans help when your water has a ton of minerals and shiz. Yeah, I like how it increased the pressure even though that has nothing to do with the beans. Plus the beans just kind of look cool, you know what I'm saying? And they're a quick test of if your residents know physics or not. Because you can be like, what about those beans? They totally increase the water pressure. And then they'll be like, yeah! And then you'll be like, no, they don't. How could you think that? Yeah. Someone comes over, they're talking, you're like, I think this person might be an idiot. Hey, do you want to take a shower? Although I don't get visitors, so yeah, that's true. Okay, let me do some more cleanup here. Other hand helpers. Opposite hand helpers. Velocity calculators. Averagers, let's say. Like this code's like all over the place. And now propel over building is in a place that makes sense. You know, honestly, I might just do this instead. I don't think this is necessary. Dude, I was on TikTok and it put like this content popped up and it was this, I guess she's saying she's a teacher and she's like, oh, when I'm like waiting for my kids to come to class, and it was just basically her dressed up sexy and she plays the music and is like trying to look all sexy, and I was like, if this lady's a teacher, she's about to get fired, dude. Like what the hell? I mean, what the heck? If her kids see her with her video, like, oh yeah, I'm so sexy. Like if I was a parent and I saw that the person teaching my child was like dressing up sexy and like doing little dances on TikTok, I'd be like, you need to fire this lady immediately. Or I'd be pumped for my son. I'd be like, son, I'm happy for you, baby. Okay. I think I did. I think I clicked through her other content, and it was just more standard teaching stuff. So I think I concluded that it was just like she made a mistake. Like she was just like, oh, this is not, this isn't funny, or I don't know. Like I just no, you would have to know it was sexy when she did it. It was like clearly a very sexy video. I don't know what she was doing. Okay, position, hand variables, position local. What the heck? What does wild and mean? Oh, yeah, I think so. I think she's just being crazy, I guess. So, all right, we're so close to testing if this climbing script will actually work or not. We got 20 minutes left in the stream, so let's see. And then after climbing, it's really just like a whole bunch of other stuff. Oh, Jake, what do you think about this? So I was trying to think of how I could make it like exponentially more fun with extremely minimal effort, basically because it's you have to make it in a month. And I was thinking what I could do is create a script that generates coins all over the map. So you have all of New York, right? Like this huge city. And I'm thinking if I can create a script that just creates coins all over the place, and that the more of them that you collect, the more your powers are upgraded. That people will just lose their mind looking for all these coins. And then I was thinking, and then I was thinking if I, so mean, dude, it's so mean because I'm just taking advantage of people. That if I make a leaderboard of who has the most coins, that people will go, that'll only throw fuel to the fire. That they'll basically be like, I mean, I'm not really having fun swinging around anymore, but I also want to be the highest on the leaderboard. But I also, like, oh my god, dude, it's so mean. It's just, it's like how, it's like it's movie trailers just take advantage of you, dude. You're like, all right, come on, of course I'm gonna see this movie. Like, what am I, a crazy person? Yeah, I'm gonna see this movie. Like this part here. Like you're like, all right, here, have my money. Like I'm not. They're just taking advantage of us. Nobody's not gonna see this movie with effects that are this good. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd be so stupid not to do it. So I'm thinking it's kind of like that. where I just hit their like they just want progression and social acceptance values as hard as possible. But anyway. Boom. Bum 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 boom. Bum 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 boom. Oh, dude, that guy that I. Yeah, no, it would work on me too. I know it would because I've played this game Crackdown where they did something similar. Um, God, dude, I'm such a good programmer. It's crazy. All right, let's see. I'm slowly refining my programming. Dude, I went so ham. I went so freaking ham on this game. I was updating the I was updating the volume of the hand slide audio based on your velocity. So like if you grab a wall, if you're swinging and then you grab a wall and you start sliding, it's going to be louder in the beginning than it is at the end. Which is just so much like polish that it's ridiculous. Yeah, and I was doing all sorts of stuff like that. That's the kind of nobody's doing that in VR, and I'm just like, but it's so cool. It's just such a cool thing to do. Why would you not do it? Um, and this is why I'm so excited about this YouTube because I always put so much love into my games and my programming, and nobody literally ever got to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as people know, I didn't even know how to program or make games. So to be able to share it with people, I think is really exciting. Player RB dot move. Old position minus the current position, which would mean it would mean that it's a arrow pointing towards the old position. So why was I translating towards that? And it was because your hand was, I see. I think that should be better. And that's what I'm saying. I just think it's such a good idea. I don't know why nobody's thinking of doing this, but to create a company that's solely founded on the idea that you are extremely transparent and everybody can see what you're doing. And I know that that doesn't really work for a lot of things, but for something creative like games, where like if you're like, oh, I'm bored of the programming, I want to go watch the audio guy, or oh, I'm bored of the audio, I want to go watch the guy modeling. You know, I think people would be really into that. And I think you could basically fund your company off of that idea. So that would be cool. And then dampen the momentum of the slide. Where is grab wall being called? I see. I believe this was 6, but let me make sure. It was. That's funny. Yeah. They're like, hey, should we release it, guys? And people are like, no! No! We're watching you make it. It's terrible. Do not release that. You know? It's also a way. Like, if you have enough of an analytics machine, it's also a way to get extremely good feedback as you're designing your game. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, as you get bigger, you tend to just kind of use analytics to say, like, you know, we don't really think this is fun, but everybody else does. So we'll just make that, and we'll just follow the data. So you could just do that where you're just like, you have a bunch of employees and everybody's saying do one thing and that they're not going to find this fun. And you're like, okay, fair enough. Like, we know you guys aren't going to find it fun. So we'll get rid of it. I'm waking up, trying to find my precious. Cast to see if you need to let go of wall. Why would that happen? If you didn't hit something, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Climb params. And with that, we have fixed all the bugs, except for this one. And with that, we have not fixed all the bugs. And with that, we have almost fixed all the bugs. And with that, we have fixed all the bugs. Oh. Man, that was a lot of refactoring. It was intense, but I'm going to be better off for it. Oh. Okay. Okay. So now, let us... I don't know if you've seen this water in a while, Jake, but now it kind of moves. I know it doesn't really look like water, but it kind of looks like something. Looks watery. I'd really love it if you could... Look, my camera's moving so slow. I'd really love it if you'd splash underwater. If you'd be like, psh, and then float back up. I think that would be cool. But we'll have to see. Okay. Yeah, dude, and it's so brutal with the coins too because you can only see 200 meters, and the city is literally like miles by miles long. So you would just be like running around the city like, oh my god, dude, you'd never find them all. And that's why we'd want it. That's why I'd put in the what was I gonna say? And that's why I'd put in the leaderboard because it would be just so freaking impossible to find these. New York City is flooded because in this world it's rainy almost all the time. That's why it's so foggy too, which would explain the fog. And it's not because I have to optimize it for a mobile headset, it's because it's so rainy. It's like the new Venice. I wonder if I can custom fog shader graph. Yeah, I probably could. It's pretty dirty. Okay, cool. So now we need to come in. First of all, I believe we put the player script on there. We did. Look at this. I have player spy, player state. I have so many scripts on this object. And then we'll need to hit both of these guys and give them the old climb. And then we'll need to set that to left hand and this to right hand. And then we're not going to use climb ball currently. Climb ball, one of the greatest scripts I've ever written. Climb ball, great script. And basically, am I set wall status? Who was using this? Climb ball. Climb ball dot set wall status. Alright, climb ball, we'll have to use you later. Okay. Alright, cool. So that should be fine. And then, that's not what nope. That's not what I wanted either. What am I doing? Here we go. And then we'll create this scriptable object. Climb parameters. We'll call it climb params. And we'll go into here and here and we'll set this. And the reason I did this way, Jake, with this. Okay, I get it. What's the problem? Climb parameters SO. Uh-oh, Unity's broken. This is good old broken Unity. But anyway, the reason I did it this way is because I have two hands and I didn't want to go through and like you can like set values on the script. So let's say I wanted the length of the list to be 250 now. I'd need to set it here, and then I'd need to go to right hand, and I'd need to set it here as well. This new way that I'm doing it, I just set them both to climb parameters, and then when I need to change things, I go into climb parameters and change them here. So that's pretty cool, at least in my opinion. Okay, so we'll give it the all restart, and hopefully Unity will fix itself. Unity's really been having problems recently. Still love it, but really a lot of restarts necessary and stuff like that. Man, this is perfect timing. I mean, I didn't get to test it or fix it or anything like that per se, but at least I got it refactored. Alright, don't let me down, Unity. I want to test this script. Huh, yeah, it's just not recognizing it for some reason. Climb parameters SO. Maybe this is the problem. Okay, fair enough. I wouldn't call it fair enough, but I figured out what they wanted. Looks like the name just needed to be. Okay, cool. So now I'll go in here and set these. Grab distance 2 decimeters, min speed to slide 5 sounds good, addition to angle. Jeez, I mean, who knows? Let's go look at player and see if it has any, because all these values used to be on here. Addition to angle max. Empirical max hand speed is going to be 8. That's how fast I could move my hand. 8 meters per second. Climb threshold angle. Oh geez, who knows? 30. Addition to angle max. Min speed to slide. Throw velocity up wall. Just realized I was still using this bad version of it. I don't know why I wrote should be awesome here, but whatever it is, it must be awesome. Throw velocity up wall, 200. Throw velocity off wall, 200. Building climb velocity. Building climbs secondary force wait time. (1.5 seconds). Secondary climb velocity. Building climb velocity. I'm using it just there, trying to climb on top of the building. The reason I'm changing these to add force is because if your game is running via physics, you don't want to just be like arbitrarily changing physics values not based on physics. Like what made his velocity increase? What happened that made his velocity increase, you know? So you say like, yeah, I added a force and that will change his velocity instead. Let's call it 30. Let's call this 20. Time to average the polar velocity over. Point 1. Momentum dampen. How is this one being used? 1 minus the momentum dampen. So we'll probably want it something like 0.01. Okay, very cool. Now, do I think this is going to work in any way? Not really. So get ready for that. Okay, so we have our first bug. Okay, so yeah, wake is called before enable, so I don't see what the problem is here. Oh, you know what it is? Zero, zero, zero. Go ahead and put those under there. And that should not change anything, so that should be fine. Hands, spy. Left hand, right hand. All right, let's see. All right, you ready for this, Jake? You ready for some sick climbing action? Look at my sweet silkworm hands. Dog, stop. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, alright, it didn't work. Let me see. I can't get close to it. Where's my head relative to my body? Oh. Okay, second problem. Hey, okay, it looked like it was working actually, because it did hit something. So that's good. Alright, second bug, squashed. We're at least going to do this until we don't have any bugs while we're doing it. And then, if it doesn't work, then fair enough, and we'll work on that tomorrow, but... Yeah, super jump. More bugs? Yes. And that's better. I'd rather this than... Really? I see. I see. Okay. Yeah, I'm falling. Oh, ow. Jesus, dog. You freaking scared me. What's this about? I didn't see all these particle effect stuff. We're getting closer though. I can see it's trying to lift my body as I'm moving my hand down. Alright, let's check this out. Okay, so we no longer have any errors. my body is trying to be lifted but is not, and I assume that that's because, let's take a look at this. Nope, that's actually not why. I was thinking it was because my rigid body here, let's try it with something real quick. Dun 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 dun. Oh man. Dun 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 dun. Oh man, I fell. It's so hard to see where your hand is in relation to the wall. Well, I'm not very good at climbing yet, but as you can see, you can climb a little bit. So that's cool. Okay, so it's just a problem with our math here. Move position, player spy. And this is the last thing we'll do for the day, but let's just basically see if basically that math is wrong in some way. Or there's some problem with doing it with physics instead of via the transform. Okay, so it's just simply like the world's worst climber. Okay, very cool. So it was just simply that the math was wrong, but now it is right. So very cool. So tomorrow we will, geez, my throat. Tomorrow we're going to see if we can make that climb mechanic actually fun and usable, as opposed to what it is now, which is none of those. So that should be good. We'll probably texture the walls so that you can see if your hand is close. We'll probably put in a really just kind of bad shadow so that you can see when your hand is getting close. So that should all be pretty helpful. Oh, I do have one more question before we stop, actually. If I rotate, will it still work? Dang it. Okay, cool. And it looks like it will, so that's good. Because snap rotation can sometimes mess up your calculations, depending on how you were doing them. But anyway, like I was saying, we'll call it there for today. It was a pretty good day. Pretty good stuff happened. And tomorrow we'll make climbing actually fun and usable. And then we'll be able to jump, we'll be able to run, we'll be able to turn, and we'll be able to climb. So that'll be good. The only thing left will be some silk swinging. So that should be pretty sweet. And then after that, we'll just have some other random stuff to do. The leaderboards, the coins, and making sure that it actually all runs on the headset nicely. So, sweet. Thanks for joining. I'll see you guys tomorrow.